You ever have that moment where you stumble across something that you feel like you should have been aware of many, many years ago, but somehow it's just escaped you? Whether it's a movie or a TV show that everybody would have assumed that you've seen before, but for some reason you just haven't. For me, that was the anime Golden Boy, which is a 6-episode 90s anime series that is full-blown, off the wall, batshit, crazy, the most quintessential amount of perverted humor that you could possibly imagine, but still deals with a character who has a heart of gold and is actually a little bit inspiring as well. There's a little bit of a heart to it. There's a message to every episode in the midst of him just wanting to put his face on toilet seats that girls have sat on.
Oh, yes! My queen!
And I know that's something we've all done before, but before I get into talking about Golden Boy, I just want to say a special shout out to a subscriber of mine, Dr. Manhattan, because he actually sent me the DVD copy of Golden Boy. He also sent me Fully Cooley. Shout out to you, man. Very, very much appreciative. Thank you so much, man. Sending me a golden gem with Golden Boy in a series that I have never seen before. And thank you, man. Thank you for sending this to me, and I deeply appreciate it, man. Shout out to you, Dr. Manhattan. If you've seen him in the live streams or if you've seen him in the comment section, shout out to him, man. If you comment, I will pin your comment so everybody can say thank you for putting me on to whatever this series is or whatever it's classified as. Now, Golden Boy is pretty straightforward, and there's not really a whole lot to review in particular unless I just went into every single episode describing different details. And in fact, it's kind of one of those shows where you kind of have to talk about particular scenes as opposed to just talking about the overall story, because really it's episodic in a way where we have this main character. His name is Kintaro, and he decides that he wants to just be a student of life. And so he's basically a wanderer. You know, he's a nomad. He's a vagabond. I think those are lyrics to a Metallica song. I don't know. But he is essentially just on his bike, traveling the world. Well, traveling Japan, I'm pretty sure. And just doing different odd jobs. He's taking up jobs at different locations. One is as a tech guy. One, he's cooking noodles for people. One, he decides he wants to be a swimming coach. All these random things, and every episode is a different adventure that he's going on as he's going on essentially this road trip, traveling through life, trying to learn as much as he can. As he does so, he carries around with him this notebook that he writes everything down, like every life lesson, everything that he learns, every bit of new information. But the kicker is, of course, that Kintaro is, how do I put this? A massive perv.
Life is a mystery. I love the research.
But before we go too far with that, because I know there's a lot of tropes in anime about characters being ridiculously perverted and trying to see girls, you know, as they're changing or something, or doing the whole Masaroshi pafu thing and putting their face right where it doesn't belong. Kintaro is an extremely respectful man. Okay, he just is infatuated by the prospect of potentially having sex with a woman, right? But he's not a pervert in the sense that he's going to do something that is particularly like harmful or invasive. He's the type of pervert where when he sees a girl who's wearing a skimpy outfit and her tits are just kind of like hanging out there, he'll have these inner monologue thoughts of like, I'm going to attempt to do his voice, and I'll get to that in a second. Well, where he will just see her, and inside of his mind, he'll be staring at her boobs being like, oh my God! And as a result, he'll continue to write this down in his notebook as well. So all of his information that he's gathering about life and all these life lessons and, you know, these practical ideas are convoluted with drawings and notes about the various women that he encounters along the way as well.
Oh, shit!
But like I said, he's not the type of pervert that's going to overstep his bounds. And in fact, a lot of the humor comes from the fact that he really wants to get laid. He wants to say something. He wants to do something, but he's too nervous to try anything, or he knows it's not the appropriate situation to try anything. For example, when his boss's daughter starts undressing in front of him, he knows that she probably wants him to take her to Pound Town, but he's trying not to do it because he's supposed to teach her math and stuff. And so, like, it's this whole thing where it's like, you know, it's actually a little bit endearing You know, it's like, I know it's so weird to say about a guy that's like rubbing his face on toilets, but that's the thing. Like, he's not trying to hurt anybody. He just goes to a toilet that the girls used and it's clean and he just wants to rub his face on it.
Oh, I can't believe it. Oh!
But what actually makes this show so funny, and it is just like full balls to the wall comedy. Like, this show is straight up a comedy with a little bit of a heart to it as well. I'd say a lot of bit of a heart to it. A lot of the comedy comes from two distinct things. One is the animation of just the wacky faces that this character will make, or how he tries to get intense and serious in order to impress somebody or to pretend that he's really great at something. Like, for instance, when he meets the girl that is the swim champion, he tries to become a swim coach himself to impress her and shows off his swimming skills.
So, how do you like my swimming?
But he's so, like, not arrogant, like, he's not stupid, but he believes in himself, right? He's got that vigor within him of wanting to achieve the best. So he's like, you know what? In 1 month's time, I will become as good of a swimmer as you. And he believes that, and he tries really hard to do it. And that's the thing, is like, everything that he throws himself into, whether it's cooking or whether it's swimming or whether it's doing tech and IT, or whether it's trying to keep up with a girl on a motorcycle, he really is always legitimately trying to do his best. It's just that the core foundation of a lot of his motivation is to get laid. But even in the process of that, he ends up helping a lot of people out and doing a lot of good for the world. So at the end of the day, regardless of what the motivation is, he's creating a positive impact on everybody that he encounters. Now, the other thing that makes this show hilarious, and I would say this is the number one thing, and I would say to all the sub versus dub debaters out there, which I've never been a part of, me personally, 9 times out of 10, I'll watch the English dub because that's the language that I speak, so I prefer to watch things in that language. If the English dub is not available, I don't have a problem watching it in Japanese with subtitles. I'll do that with new episodes of things that come out that aren't dubbed yet. I don't really have a problem with it either way. Do whatever you want to do. However, there are some particular instances where you can legitimately say sub or dub is better. In this case, I would say the only way to watch this show is with the English dub, because the guy that does the voice for Kintaro, the main character, just puts 100% effort into every single little sentence and bit of dialogue, and he makes this whole show. His inflections, the way that he screams, like his voice, like, once again, like, I can't believe I'm touching her boobs! Like, like everything that he says. And then when he gets super serious too, I can't even begin to describe it, dude. He's just going off the rails, and I love it.
Oh, just joking. Huh? I hear the sound of a woman screaming. I can see her changing clothes in the mirror. Oh, Lord, why are you tempting me? Why? Oh, I'll see the things I shouldn't see. My heart is about to burn. It's because she's grown up in such a clean and beautiful environment. She has yet to learn that men look at women with sexual intention. The wild beast inside you has awoken the wild beast inside me.
He is putting so much passion, so much effort in a time in the 90s where you could argue that there's a lot of bad dubs out there, or that people are just kind of saying the lines without putting any actual attempt into the acting abilities of voice acting. The dude that voices this character, I'm telling you, man, he is out of this world fantastic. I would even now probably put him in, like, definitely my top 10 favorite English voice acting performances for an anime character at this point. And that's with only 6 episodes to draw from. Now, whether or not this is going to be for you is really going to depend on your sense of humor or the things that you find funny. I do find this sort of like exaggerated sexual humor to be funny. I don't like it sometimes where it goes just like too hardcore into fan service, but even though there is some of that in this anime, it doesn't, that's not where the humor particularly comes from. It comes from Kintaro's reaction to particular things that he's seeing and observing. But there is some nudity in here, no sex in and of itself, but some nudity. Obviously some fan service, but most of the humor just comes from Kentaro's reaction to it. And also, like I said, there is a wholesome component to this show because as Kentaro is going from job to job, he is legitimately helping people. He takes a beating for people a couple of times in the series. And in the final episode, which is where he joins a team of animation artists, you know, he's trying to get this show, this episode of this anime to all come together. You know, he really is the MVP of all of these situations in trying to make sure something works or try to make sure that something gets done properly or that other people aren't in trouble for not finishing something or not doing something. Even in the very first episode, he fucks something up like in a very bad way as a result of trying to do the right thing. And not only does he take accountability for it, but he also corrects the mistake without anybody having to push him to, you know? So, like, he is a genuinely good guy. He just has a couple of quirks. But overall, it is a comedy, and overall, the majority of the comedy does come from sexual humor. But I think it's done in a way that isn't overbearing or too disgusting or anything like that. We did talk about toilet rubbing. I don't know. I just feel like from the things that I've seen, especially when it comes to anime, this hit the right kind of line where I don't think it goes too overboard, but it also does push the envelope far enough that you're going to have some like, oh my God, I can't believe he just did that. Like, I can't believe he just did that kind of moment, which is what you want from something like this. So I don't know if you guys have seen Golden Boy before. Somehow this has escaped me my whole life. And as somebody that, you know, is a diehard, like, 80s, 90s, early 2000s anime guy, it's just one of those shows I've never seen until now. And I'm a little bit upset it took me so long, but also thankful that I watched it. So let me know what you guys think of Golden Boy down below. Once again, shout out to subscriber Dr. Manhattan for sending me a copy, man. This will fit very well on my movie collection shelf. So thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, you guys. Give me your thoughts, comments, opinions. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you want to support the channel on a deeper level, I have Patreon channel memberships turned on, as well as the various social media links where you can follow me down below. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time.